hesitate to inflict pain.
This one will soon belong to me. Mortal flesh is so foul. Shadow, rise and fight. A mouth sweet, sweet shot.
Hello and welcome, Exiles. It's been a bit since I've thought about Path of Exiles, so I thought to get back into it, might just well go with my comfort food, which is Righteous Fire. I love the skill. I like playing with it, and I decided, I'm going to experiment and I'm going to try out Ghostwrithe. This is a new chest we got this league. I think it's a pretty cool chest because it enables you to build basically your EHP in a different way where you scale into life. But that allows you to grab percent life, percent ES as well, and that ends up getting converted into energy shield. You can scale some pretty good energy shield numbers, and so I thought, you know what, when I've played Righteous Fire before, I like Elementalist for its damage nodes, but I haven't really been able to get decent EHP with Elementalist. What if I go into Ghostwrithe, I scale some EHP that way, and see what we can end up with? Now, the build I ended up getting here to about 9,000 ES, it's a level 94 character, and we're using Ghostwrithe in combination with Presence of Chayula, which basically means about 75% of our life pool is getting converted into energy shield. So you can see we have this massive ES pool because most of our life is getting converted to ES, and then we have ES scaling on top of that. So if I take off these two items, obviously our ES goes to the floor because all of our ES is coming from our life pool respectively. Now, the way that I can build into this and not be worried about chaos damage killing me is I'm using Esh's Visage. This shield says, hey, if you're not on low life, then chaos damage won't bypass you. It's also a shield that has a decent amount of life, a decent amount of ES, and a little bit of resistances. It's a pretty cheap shield, not too hard to acquire. You just gotta kill Esh a few times and you'll get it. Pretty easy acquisition. And then since I'm only reserving down to about 70% life, I'm not on low life. That allows me to run Vitality on my life pool. And obviously, since I just took out I'm not going to recover a life because I don't have a life recovery mechanism in my hideout. But normally, you get the point. We're on Energy Shield, and that's what we're sustaining, and enemies aren't going to hit our life pool. If they hit our life pool, they're probably killing us at that point. So that's how it works, is we don't get cast to bypass us through the shield. It's a nice little hybrid shield. Not as OP as like some, high damage plus level percent damage shield. It's not going to scale our DPS the highest, but for, some just random uniques and some okay rares, I think the result's decent for just kind of the potato gear I have on this character. I think the thing where I invested too much in is I grabbed some Awakened Gems, which I probably shouldn't have done that. That was probably, it's basically like this weird combination of I have gear that's not super valuable, and then I put Awakened Gems that cost like a Divine a pop, and it seems a little bit like a mismatch, but I was kind of just being really lazy about putting the stuff together. And as I can see now, if I forget to summon my Stone Golem, I have a bit of a sustain issue. Once I have the Stone Golem, I start sustaining again. Ultimately, my review of this character is, it's just mediocre. It's a bit too low on the sustain the way I built it. Obviously, we're only over-sustaining by about like 400 life a second, which I don't think is really enough. Granted, I didn't invest into max res. That probably would have helped that out quite a bit as well. And I could have put more into sustain, but regardless, the character, I just wanted to get my, back into PoE a little bit, so I said, you know what, I'll build around Ghostwrithe, see what I can do with it. And then I went into a tree where I could grab life nodes. Life nodes feel decent, a little bit of armor nodes, determination, and then a few cluster jewels that are just kind of okay cluster jewels. So I have cluster jewels with only 2 notables, because 3 notable jewels are quite expensive because RF is meta. So just 2 notable ones, the difference in paying a couple divines per jewel and like 20C. That's the difference we're looking at here. Just getting some prismatic cards for resistances. And then Vile Reinvigoration, Flow Life normally are notables you don't really care about getting together because you want to build into... You don't normally build too much into hybrid of scaling both life and scaling ES, so these don't really agree with each other. But since our build scales life, which then gets converted into ES, and then we scale that ES, we can take advantage of both of these. So these feel like decent notables to pick up on mediums. And then we get like Chill Immunity from Wrapped in Flames, Freeze Immunity from Brine King, and Shock Reduction from our Pantheon here. We also decided to go with a... I don't know if this is really the play. I think maybe I should have just gone for an Anima Stone, not use Elemancer, and just grab this jewel here, because... This gives me a little bit of Golem effect. I'm not sure it's really worth it, and it adds a bunch of extra expense for the Forbidden Flame and Flush jewels if these are expensive. So I'm not sure this is really the play, but it's just something I wanted to test out. This allows us to get close to 50% shocks on bosses, which is a big damage modifier. You just need basically a Stormbrand linked to Unbound Ailments with a little bit of ailment effect on the tree, and we're getting close to 50% shocks, which is a pretty good way to boost our damage, even though it's just 1 ascendancy point. It's a big boost of damage. And then the other things on Elementalist, the Golem nodes give us basically sustain from Stone Golem, speed from the Lightning Golem for basically shield charging around, Chaos Golem gives us Fizz reduction, and then last but not least, you have the Flame Golem, which gives us % damage. And then, of course, Mastermind of Discord, minus res, convergence, AoE. This is kind of just the idea I went in with. I just wanted to try something out, just a little experiment for Elementalists. I'm a little bit sick right now. It's been a hot minute since I've played PoE. This isn't really the best thing I've ever put together, but just something I wanted to try with. I wanted to experiment with Ghostwrithe. Maybe this could get your mind thinking about interesting ways to build around Ghostwrithe. I want to try doing more stuff with this item because it's kind of fun to be able to have just your tree completely revolved around scaling life, but then build into things that work with ES sort of thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I kind of like this item. I want to try more with it, but until I start to feel better or whatnot, it'll probably be a bit before I try this again. But for the time being, I'm probably going to play Mayhem. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for Mayhem. I might try doing like an Ivory Tower Righteous Fire. That sounds like it might be fun. I'm just getting back into PoE because it's been a hot minute since I've done stuff with it, and we'll see how it goes. As always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care.